This is Foul Players Radio, your podcast for arts, entertainment, and pop culture. Welcome. My name is Michael Spedden, your host. Every episode features fun, fascinating stories about people in the performing arts, actors, authors, dancers, writers, musicians, athletes, you name it. Folks who are center stage, backstage, on camera, or behind the scenes. Sit back and listen. Let's have some fun. Foul Players Radio is a proud production of the Foul Players Group and the official podcast of the Foul Players of Perryville.
Hello, my name is Gunhild Carling, and you are listening to Foul Players Radio, and I am interviewed here, so tune in.
Hi, everybody. Dwight Weems from Gaz the Fun Band, and you're watching and listening to Foul Players Radio.
Hi, this is Kim of Kim's Crypt, and you're listening to Foul Players Radio.
Hey folks, Michael Spedden here. Welcome back to Foul Players Radio. Today we have the Chorus of the Chesapeake joining us, and they were here to tell us about their new show, which is going to be Saturday, December 10th, 2022 at 3 p.m. The show is called A Season of Hope and Song, and the chorus will be under the direction of Mr. Kevin King. The chorus show will be at CCBC Essex, or as we know it, those of us who are old, as Essex Community College over at 7201 Rossville Boulevard in Rosedale in the F. Scott Black Theater. And tickets are going to be $20 for adults, students ages 7 through 18, $10, and children ages 6 and younger are free. If you are interested in tickets for this, call 410-256-2962 to purchase. You can also get tickets at the door, and a portion of the proceeds will go to benefit Toys for Tots. That's an organization the chorus has been supporting for quite a few years in the various shows that they've done. And guys, if you're interested in singing, it's a great group of guys to get to know and to sing with, the Chorus of the Chesapeake. There are some guys that have been there since the beginning back in the mid-50s, all the way up until now, and there are some guys that have just been there for a few years. But I got to tell you, if you're looking for something to do, barbershop singing is fun. It's good for you. There are studies that have been done that show that singing is a very healthy experience, and there are a lot of good friends that you can make in the chapter. So I urge you to come out if you're interested in giving this a try. We meet at the American Legion Hall at the end of Dundalk Avenue, post 38, every Tuesday night except for the first of every month. And, please come on out and check it out. And afterwards, we have a little bit of friendship and fellowship in the tavern that's there at the American Legion Hall. So please consider coming out for the Chorus of the Chesapeake. The Foul Players of Perryville will be at the Fifth Company Brewing on December 10th at 7 p.m. For tickets, fifthcompanybrewing.com or www.foulplayersradio.com, or actually foulplayersofperryville.com. Also, New Year's Eve on the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, the Foul Players of Perryville will be performing a murder mystery. So make sure you come out and see that. And don't forget about Polar Express, www.wmsr.com. Polar Express is going to be running from the Friday after Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's Eve. So make sure you come check that out. If you have little ones in the family, it'll be a great time. We'll be right back with Bill Day and Kevin King from the Chorus of the Chesapeake.
This is A.D. Adams, and you are tuned in to Foul Players Radio with your host, Michael Spedden.
Yeah, hi, this is David Simmons from DC Star, and I am just encouraging all of you to tune in to Michael Spedden's show on Foul Players Radio and love the rock and roll of the past and the art of the future.
And folks, welcome back to another episode of Foul Players Radio. And returning again, I think for maybe the fourth or fifth time, we have the Chorus of the Chesapeake tonight. Representing the chorus, we have Bill Day and Kevin King. And it's always great to see you guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us, Mike.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there is news. There is some good news.
There is. If I might give you some of the details, finally, after not being able to have a show, we're going to have a show in December. And I'd like to share the details with your audience and then certainly defer to our maestro, Kevin King, to tell you a little bit about the music specifically. But let me give you the details of the show. The title of the show is A Season of Hope and Song. And as Kevin will elaborate, I'm sure, be some traditional barbershop tunes, and we're also going to do some holiday music. Now, the show is on Saturday, December 10th, and it starts at 3 p.m. We want our audience to be able to get home before dark. Obviously, it features the chorus of the Chesapeake in full regalia, plus the possibility of some additional entertainment. Now, it's really important because for years we've been in another location for these types of shows. This year, it's a new location. It's the Essex Community College on Rossville Boulevard. And we're going to be at the F. Scott Black Theater, which I'm sure many people of many of your followers already know. And I'm really happy to report that it's at full capacity in the theater. And just recently, they advised us that masks for the audience are now optional. They had been required. Now, as far as tickets, adults, it's $20, which is the same as we've had for years. And we have a student discount, Mike, for any student 7 to 18, and it's half price, $10. And any of the kiddies age 6 and younger are free. Now, to get tickets, we've got a phone number. It's local. It's area code 410-256-2962. Now, the tickets can be purchased in advance, and it's all general admission seating. And the tickets are also available at the door. And finally, one of the things that we started, the last show that we were able to perform several years ago, we partnered with Toys for Tots. And again, this year, we're going to donate a portion of the proceeds to Toys for Tots. So that sort of summarizes the details of the show, Mike. And we hope that some of your followers will join us, because it'll be an exciting show. And as you well know, it's a very pleasant way of singing. It's all a cappella, 4-part harmony. And boy, when those chords lock, it is so pleasant to the ear.
Oh, it is. It is. Absolutely. Unfortunately, as being a member, I would have loved to have been there, but another obligation kind of, took that over this year. But I always love, I've been performing now with the chorus since 2018, and I've always loved the Oriole game. Was just breathtaking to hear us, the way, I mean, we were mic'd, of course, but the way we just filled that stadium with sound, and all the other performances I've been with too, at Goucher College, our May show in 2019, and even performing at the mall, doing Christmas caroling at the mall that we've done a couple of times. It's just it's just a good feeling, when the songs sound good, and the chords are right in there and everything, and we get to see Kevin's smiling face instead of his. That's
when you know you got it.
Yeah, well, it's important that when Bill gets the bids for those kinds of shows, we try to get when we're playing the Toronto Blue Jays, because we also can sing the Canadian national anthem as well as our own. So I'm trying to think. I guess we have to. What do? We do I guess we do "Oh Canada" first, and then
we do. We do.
And that sort of sets us up. Kind of gives us a sort of a sound check. And again, the idea, we've got these arrangements; they're ready to roll, and we keep them brushed up, so that we can do those kinds of things. We do a bunch of patriotic songs, usually in the summertime when we're at the Heritage Fair in Dundalk. And, coming up this year, we've had some music that we were, we had not been able to perform for anyone, really. So we've got, I was just going to take a look here. We have, in no particular order, we had the A House with Love in It, which was a solo that my father used to sing with his quartet.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. A house with love in it is rich indeed. So we go through that one. We're going to do Ebb Tide, which was another one that the Oriole 4 did, but it was like, I would say it was on their D list of songs, and they never recorded it, but that's a great one that we'll do. I think My Friend is another song. Again, these are songs from the past. At one point, we were doing a show in May, June that we had sort of surveyed the people about like songs they might like to hear again. And we had listed in the program, like, can you choose this one, this one, this one, this one? And these were some of those ones that came up. And so we're gonna probably do those for the first time. They won't be hearing sort of, I guess the same old, like I remember in the old days, Dad would do like Dundalk in concert, and then it would go on and on with these songs that they sort of do and they all had ready. But we're going to do the I Never Knew You Were Meant for Me medley. And speaking of medleys, we have a wonderful Mills Brothers medley that we worked on. That probably has 5 or 6 songs in it, including Cab Driver and all of those other great, cool songs that they do. And
Glowworm.
Glowworm is one of them, and Up a Lazy River. And all of these are in this, great arrangement. And so hopefully this will be the opportunity for the course to debut these, even though we've been, in secret or rehearsing them, since probably we were online doing it a little bit, and working that way, which is very difficult for the chorus to do because you really can't sing, you have to kind of like put on a recording and hope for the best. I can't monitor the guys on there on a Zoom because the feedback is, it's just cacophony when I hear what comes out. Guys are on different times and they start at the same, and it's crazy. So we will do all of those and probably a few more. And then, we'll be doing some of our Christmas standards that, have been a part of the choruses for a long time. Joy to the World, Let It Snow, White Christmas, Silent Night, Oh Holy Night, even Lo How a Rose Are Blooming, which is an ancient old carol, but the guys love to sing it.
Yep, we do.
And then Jingle Bells, of course, which is maybe the classic of all time. So we'll have sort of a first half and a second half, probably first half with these newer, to our audience, certainly, songs. And then the Christmas songs we'll finish with, probably leave everybody on a good note. And it's what, December 10th, right?
Yes.
So
Saturday, December 10th.
I think everybody will be thinking about that. Christmas is a Sunday this year, so looking ahead and forward to that as well, just keeping it all straight, my calendar and everything else. So,
if I could ask a couple of questions, Kevin, you were, just with the things that you were talking about here, A House with Love in It, that's one of my favorites that we do. And I love the recording of it. I have the Oriole 4 recording, and I believe they had 2 albums out at least.
They did. There were probably 3. The first one was a 33 and a third LP, but it was a 10-inch disc. It wasn't the full 12. It was a smaller disc. And they only had, I don't know, maybe 10 songs on it or so.
Yeah.
That's when they were very young in their development. They probably did that recording in like I'm going to say 59 or so. Some guys that have it, it's all orange, the cover, it's got a photo on the front. And so there was that album. And then they did an album for the Society called The Bourne Barbershop Blockbusters. It was sort of a strange little, I don't know how to say it, because Bob Johnson was involved in this project for recording these songs for the Bourne Company. And Bourne had a book out that had every song on the record, you know, and you had them in there. But they were, how to say, Johnson had given the quartet strict instructions not to barbershop their way through, especially with the rhythms, so
Mhm.
that, you know, they're kind of very straight, you know, all we do is dun 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 dun. What do we do? What do we do on a do-do-do-we day? And it went on like a couple of do-do-do-we day. I mean, it's not really like a song or a cool song that you'd think that the Orioles would do, but they were champs at the time, and the opportunity came to do it. And Johnson wanted to sell this to music educators to be able to interpret, you know, like the half notes and whole notes and everything else that was on the page, so that it could be there, not like really rubato style that usually, you know, barbershop quartets do. You get it there and you,
Mhm.
this word or that syllable or, you know, that note you hold. And this was like very straight through, nice and neat, and finished with it. You know, that's what the way they did. So they did that album. And then there was an album with all of their, I would say sort of a newer album that had all of their stuff on it,
Mhm.
stuff that they did from their shows and stuff from the Afterglows. And again, you know, LPs, I don't know how much information could come up, probably a half hour or 40
Mhm.
minutes, maybe two sides. And so it wasn't, you know, everything they could do. Like I sort of mentioned that the song Ebb Tide was like from the D list. It's not that there
Yeah.
was a D list of like as inferior songs. They were just like the songs they did on the show, A
Mhm.
list, the songs you probably had left to do on the Glow, you know, because you did sort of two shows in a night, you know, from their quartet days. And so the C list was like songs that were kind of cool, where they were kind of working on, they did for, I don't know, they'd sing it in the car on the way back to the airport or to the hotel or whatever. They would sing these songs and do it sort of just for that captive audience kind of idea. And Ebb Tide was one of those. So they didn't do it, but now the course has learned it. And the Dunlop Sweet-Adelines did do Ebb Tide, and they recorded it back in the day when they were doing those albums, like in the late 60s and early 70s. They did a couple albums, and that's mostly Dad's music, you know, the things that he wrote for the girls.
Mhm.
That's pretty much, I mean, it's everything. And it's in a book right up here that my mom kept, you know, all those charts and arrangements. I have those. So, but, you know, we're doing some things like that. We're going to do another song. I just mentioned, where did that go? There's a third song that's on the international album when they won in '71, that second time that they won. They had That's What I Call a Pal
Mhm.
and Walking with My Sweetness.
Yep.
Those were the
Mhm.
two competition numbers. And as the champion of that year, they were allowed an extra song to record, and they did The Way You Look Tonight,
Oh. Mhm.
which is what the chorus has been working on as well. And that's an arrangement of by Renee Craig. And you know, she was quite instrumental in helping develop the quartet and getting their own personality. In fact, they're like 5 out of the 6 quartets, that 6 competition songs that they sang the year they won. Oriole 4 won the year in 1970, and then the chorus won the next year in 1971. So Renee Craig's influence is all over that music. And you know, that's one of those ones that we've kept. So we're doing all that I Never Knew You Were Meant for Me medley
Mhm.
is also a Renee Craig arrangement. So we're going to do those. I mean, she's obviously passed away now as well, but her influence and really, I mean, pound per square inch, there aren't enough dominant seventh chords to, I mean, there, you just every place you stop, every resting spot, this list filled with great barbershop sort of instinct that she had on transferring those things to paper. And so that's another great song that we'll be doing on that show. And that'll be like our next competition, whenever that is, probably next late, like May or April sometime. In that time, we will be doing that. Hopefully going back to contest if we can, because we haven't done that for 2 years, 3 years.
Speaking of that, that would present an excellent opportunity for any man out there who likes to sing to give thought to coming down and visiting us. I mean, you get the benefit of expertise of a Kevin King, plus the section leaders that we have are all wonderful musicians themselves. And if a man enjoys singing, he should come down and see us. Now, we meet every Tuesday night except the first Tuesday night of the month at the American Legion Hall down at the end of Dundalk Avenue. And it's a great facility for us to rehearse. Plenty of room, very nice, clean, comfortable, temperature controlled. And it would be an excellent opportunity for any man out there that's a follower of yours, Mike, based upon your experience and my 42 years of it, that you might want to come down and check it out. And here's a very important thing. We don't make anyone audition to tell them they can't sing. What we do is we ask the section leader, Kevin, or the assistant director, Doug Treff, just to test the voice, to see where the man's voice might be in terms of, does he sing lead? Is he a tenor? Should he sing bass like yourself? Or should he sing baritone? And that's all. And if a man comes to visit us, if he doesn't want to do anything the first night that he's there, he doesn't have to do anything but listen to us. So I would encourage any man out there who likes to sing to give some thought to that. And I can be contacted via email if anybody wants to find out more about it. If you would like me to give that email, it's wrday48@gmail.com. And we welcome any man to come down and visit us any Tuesday night. But remember, the first Tuesday night of the month, we don't meet.
In fact, that's something of a dilemma for the guys.
Yes.
We're going to find a place to rehearse that first Tuesday this week because we've got, it's so close to that December 10th show date that we will probably need to kind of get that in there. So I'm not sure where we are on that. We'll probably discuss it tomorrow night to do it. But if not, that we have, I know at least of a couple options that we can do. And actually, December is a busy month for the chorus because we're going to do that annual show that we talked about earlier. That's going to be over at Essex Community College. But then there's a week between Christmas and New Year's where we typically don't have a rehearsal. But what's that event called?
The Beer Blast.
The Beer
We used to call it the Beer Blast, but it's
Yes. How
just
could you
a
forget
blast
that?
now. So we can talk about it in polite company or whatever, As Rick said, now if the girls would leave, I could tell this joke, but no,
Yeah.
if the guys would leave, we can get started. So anyway, whatever. The blast will be on that. I don't know if it's the Saturday before. I don't know when the date is, but
I'm not sure either, Kevin.
but there's a quartet that's coming back together. That's going to be the host there. I probably should have thought of this before, but it just came to me. I said, yeah, we're doing that too, that same month. And it'll be between Christmas and New Year's, and it'll be at the rehearsal hall. It'll be held at the American Legion.
Yeah, it's Riptide, isn't it, Kevin? That's coming back?
Yeah, that's the quartet maybe that's coming
That's
back.
the quartet. It's Riptide. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty amazing because Riptide, a multi-medalist quartet, never won like BSQ. We had 5 medals and we never won. And they had, I don't know, they might have 6 or 7 medals and they didn't win. I'm not sure how they count that, but the quartet is coming back together for this night, and we'll have some other, but this will be sort of it's not a catered affair, but we'll have, beer and setups, I guess, and that's what they'll be there. And it's a wonderful night. A pretty cool, intense part of the hobby, and guys starving for it between, like, gee, there's no rehearsal this week. What do I do? Well, we've got something going on down at the rehearsal hall. So come down to the American Legion in Dundalk.
It's always a nice time. I've been to a few of those in the time I've been with the chorus. And the other thing, Bill, you had mentioned that, and I can also, second what you're saying. When you come in, it was something I'd always wanted to do. And I've sung in bands before, but I've never had any formal, really, a little bit of theater here and there. I did some singing, but really not much instruction over the years. I have had lessons from time to time, but when you come in, and you're exactly right, they give you a listen just to see where you are. There's no judgment. And the thing is that once you're working in your section and everything, people will help you out. The people will come over and say, try this. I was struggling on a couple of songs, Doug came over to me and said, hey, look, try singing it this way, or try doing this during that part. It helped. And, nobody gets down on anybody, nobody gets chased out of the room or anything like that. It's welcoming. And another big part of it, and which is why my grandfather loved being in the chorus for as long. He was a charter member and literally was in the chorus until the day he passed away. And the thing that he really loved about it was that not only was, did he love to sing, but that was about 150 of his closest friends.
Yeah.
There was always, if he wasn't at a family gathering, he was at a barbershop gathering, whether it be, rehearsal or an event or a get together or some sort of competition or anything. Absolutely love Grossingers too, going out
Grossinger.
there.
My goodness, what great times that was. That was a strange affair. That was mostly those guys up in Western New York. Those guys were in the Seneca Land district, and they hosted that always the first weekend after New Year's in January, and it really it was an excuse, again, sort of like what we do with the Blast. It was an excuse to kind of get together, with barbershoppers and have good performances and great, because we used to do it at Grossingers every year, which was, one of those Borscht Belt, resorts that you could go and visit, and you could stuff yourself with the food that they had. I mean, it was pretty cool, but they really raised a lot of money for what was a service project at the time, the Institute of Logopedics, and they raised a ton of money for that. They'd have like one night they'd have like the chorus from Binghamton, New York would show up, and the chorus from Syracuse would be there, and Ramapo Valley Sweetenlines would be there, and chorus the Chesapeake sang one night, I think. Dundalk Sweetenlines were up as well. I mean, they were these different guest groups that put on performances, and then during the day you'd be out, skiing down the slopes, or out on the toboggan ride, or skating in the ice rink. I mean, those were very glorious times. I can remember riding up through the night on a Thursday, day, Dad driving his Lincoln and we're on the back, so going up there. So but it was, that was very good. It's a great fond memory. And again, it's something that we sort of fill our time with, with doing that. And it is very, very enjoyable.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was looking through some things of my grandfather's, and the chorus is actually in the Grossingers Hall of Fame. And if you consider all of the legendary entertainment acts that came through that region, I mean, the chorus is in some pretty damn good company.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Lewis and
Mhm.
You know, you know, what's his name? Martin was in there as well.
Yep.
And they always had, even though it was like a sort of a barbershop show, they still like prefaced it like on Friday and Saturday evening. You still had to like, I don't know, say endure like
Mhm.
the local comic, you know, so he'd come out and there'd be this comedic act and, you know,
Mhm.
sometimes those were pretty blue compared to the, you know, the stuff that the barbershoppers were used to. Those
Mhm.
comics would, you know, regular jokes, you know, standard upper left-hand corner and deliver and, you know, you just had to do it. Sometimes it was very entertaining and it
Mhm.
was a great time and it was a great change of pace for barbershoppers. And you know, I can remember one time, I don't know if you were in there that time, Bill, when the chorus had uh, we had to make sort of an early exit because the snow was
Yeah.
coming from some place, like from the south, and it was going to be like it was
A
going to
blizzard.
suck everybody in. And
Yeah,
we were like,
yeah.
okay, I guess we're going to go now instead of finish around playing here. So they put him on the bus, and I think they got him back to, you know, the parking lot, and they had to clean their cars off. It was just, you know, it was
Mhm.
a cycle just like that. I think we got out ahead of the school, the bus, that the thing there with my dad, and the snow started coming down when about the time we were running through Harrisburg, you
Mhm.
know, PA, and then, you know, by the time there was probably 6 inches on the ground by the time we got home. I mean, it was coming down that year. And that wasn't the only time that snow affected the talent, you know. There was one year where the quartet didn't get out of, I think they were from Minnesota or something. So they, you know, it was snowing there and they couldn't get there. And so Dad, on off the top of his head, said, "Okay, we're going to rehearse and we'll have this group." And he put together like this Grossinger's chorus,
Mhm.
you know, and they, I'm trying to think, he wrote this whole song, I mean, whole chart and everything, just like Mozart, you know. I'm trying to think what it was. The song ended with, let's let's go singers to grow singers and we'll have a wonderful time, or something like that was the idea. So we entertained ourselves, you know, and still put on the chorus and still had a show and still raised a heck of a lot of money. You know, it was a pretty cool thing to do that back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And my grandparents loved it up there so much they used to go on their own on trips, even outside of chorus events. They told me
Mhm.
about that. I've had a number of guests on the show recently. That one fella actually has a documentary that's out on Jewish Life Television called "Remembering the Catskills," and it's going to be, I believe, a 10-part series about the old hotels and people who entertained there and the people who lived there and worked there. And that was just quite a place. I mean, that was just such a big part of our entertainment and
Yeah,
history up
I
there.
think now it's, you know, I think, you know, there's nothing left there, I think.
Not much. There's not much. I was up
Uh,
there last year with my wife on a trip when we went through Woodstock, which is right in that corridor.
mhm.
But we drove by a lot of the old. There were some ruins of a few buildings there of Grossingers and Kutchers, and then
Yes.
we also drove out, on a couple of the rural routes out there around lakes. There were a lot of the old bungalow colonies, like small bungalows on a lake where people would fish and canoe and paddle boat and swim and everything. They weren't the big resorts, but they were all there, but they were all fenced up and really falling apart.
Yeah.
And there's very little left out there. I believe they're starting to revitalize some of it,
Well,
but
you know, I think what, if I remember correctly, there was talk of this even when the course was there, even when the barbershoppers were going there, and even there was a time when we stopped going up to Grossinger's and we went to like the Poconos or something to kind of do
Mhm.
the same thing, and it
Yeah.
wasn't quite the same, and so everyone loved Grossinger's, but we couldn't
Mhm.
go back. And I think that what the owners were holding out for was some kind of legislation to allow for gambling out there.
That might have been it. I think that may have
And-
been it.
And
Yeah.
I think they thought, well, eventually, we'll save this to show, we'll put a casino here or whatever, and we'll have all of that activity. And I think, that would have been hard to do the Grossinger in the old fashioned way that we did it.
Mhm.
It would have been, if it had been that casino, you probably would have saved these places. They probably would have been meeting there, but
Mhm.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That part of it, we would have been, sort of outclassed in some respect, I think.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, it's interesting that you mentioned that, though.
This is such, there's so many stories that the chorus has, that I heard from my grandfather, and that, since I've joined and I socialize in the little tavern at the American Legion Hall at the Post 38. Just so many stories and so many good times that have happened with the chorus. It's definitely a very unique group. Lots of friendship over the years, lots of just something that it really it would be great for anybody, I think, who would want to join. Because again, people get along, we have fun. Singing's a good time, and the social part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Yep. And the fact that we get to do fun things like sing at the Heritage Fair and then hang out afterwards, and get to go to an Oriole game once a year, and hopefully we'll get that back. And the shows and everything are always a lot of fun as well to perform in. So well, great. Well, is there anything else that we want to mention? I know we did want to talk about the December 10th show. Any plans for next year that are maybe concrete that you'd want to discuss?
Well, I think that Kevin's already touched upon the fact that we'll probably compete
Yeah, sure.
in
Competitions.
in the spring.
Mhm.
And you can always count on us to be at the Heritage Fair
Mhm.
around the 4th of July.
Oh yeah.
And we'll also probably pursue the Oriole game again. It didn't work out this year for us. We
Sure.
couldn't
Yeah.
coordinate schedule with them. And I'm sure that we'll have another show like this, if not in the spring, in the fall. It still takes some planning on our part.
Mhm.
And we have to, of course, adjust to what's happening out there with the virus and make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
everyone's safe.
Mhm.
And we'll go from there. So if I might, Mike, I'd like to just reiterate the plug again for the show, if I could.
Absolutely. Plug,
All right.
plug, plug away.
All right. Well, again, the show is called A Season of Hope and Song, and it's on Saturday, December 10th at 3 p.m. So still being daylight.
Mhm.
And it's at a new location this year. The Essex Community College on Rossville Boulevard at the F. Scott Black Theater. And it's pretty easy to find on the campus. And one of the things that Jim Botel has mentioned to me several times is providing a map so the customers know where to go specifically on the campus.
Mhm.
The tickets are $20, the same as they've been for years. A $10 discount for students ages 7 to 18,
Mhm.
and children 6 and younger are free. It's all general admission seating, and tickets are available at the door. To call for ticket information, it's 410-256-2962. And as we've done in years past, a portion of the proceeds will go to Toys for Tots.
Right.
So we hope to see some of your followers at the show, and we'd love to see some of the men come down and visit us at the American Legion Hall at the end of Dundalk Avenue and partake of this expertise that you heard tonight
Mhm.
from Kevin King. And as I've said, the assistant directors, the associate directors, and section leaders are all wonderful musicians. It's a great fellowship. We all try to help each other out. Even I, as a non-trained singer, have been known to help a guy now and then about singing some lead. So thanks a lot for having us again, Mike.
Oh,
On behalf of
absolutely.
All the members
Absolutely.
of the chorus, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes, yes. The website for the chorus is still dundalk.org, correct?
Correct.
For
correct.
the Dundalk chapter, which is why it's called dundalk.org. Can the tickets be purchased there, or are they strictly by phone?
Call that number, and Bob Hastings is the contact, and he'll
Okay.
direct people to do that. Tickets can
Okay.
be purchased electronically, but Bob will coordinate all of that. And
Okay.
they also, as I said, can be purchased at the door.
I think you all
I know.
may remember my story of
Oh, yeah.
my
About the dining room
grandfather.
table.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My grandfather, and you knew my grandfather. He was a fairly
Yep.
level-headed, kind, soft-spoken guy, but
Quiet guy.
quiet. Yeah. But I tell you, every year we knew it was getting ready to be showtime, because on our dining room table at Granddad's house, he had all the tickets for the lyric show in the order that they were, spread out just like pretty much the way they're laid out in the lyric. We were forbidden to go in there, but one day my brother and I were horsing around. We bumped the table and the tickets just slid.
Oh,
Oh, woo, boy.
the burning you got for that one will last you for a while, I bet.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, that was that was something else. But I tell you, I thought for the next year he was going to like maybe put up barbed wire and trap doors and things like that to keep us from going out into that room. But he didn't do it. But we learned our lesson. We definitely learned our lesson. But folks, the shows are I can remember attending these as a kid, and they were always very enjoyable. They were well done. The music was always well done. And there's a lot of personality. The quartets all they sing their songs, and they have their little routines that they do. I can remember a lot of what Mr. Rick Taylor's shenanigans, and I even remembered his jokes 40 years later after seeing him perform at the shows. And the songs I remember from the shows I saw, Yes, We Have No Bananas. There was always a routine with that. I Want a Girl, Just Like the Girl That Married Dear Old Dad. Ramona, that was another one I remember. That was a song that was on the repertoire for many, many years. And Kevin, I mean, your father was probably one of the absolute greatest showmen I've ever seen in my life. Good old Fred King,
Well, you can come back to the show and see that vaudeville isn't dead, because
Mhm.
you think it is, but when you come to a barbershop show, you kind of get a sense of that good, clean, comedy, and some heartfelt, lyrics to the songs. And this is what we try to work on with our performers, to learn them and take them to heart, and
Mhm.
and do them justice. We talk about the art of preservation. So we're singing some old songs, but
Mhm.
they're new to us and they're new to the listeners. So
Yep.
it should be a good show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate you coming on again, and it's always a pleasure. And folks, make sure you check out the Chorus of the Chesapeake, December 10th, CCBC Essex. And we will be posting the information on how to get tickets in the show notes. And if you're watching the video, we will post the flyer so you can see it and get all the details as well. So, Bill, Kevin, thank you so much for being here again. It was great to see you. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Same here, Mike. Thanks again.
Right.
Thanks.
We shall see you. All righty.
All right. Take care, fellas. Hey, folks, and thank you for sticking around and watching the episode with Kevin King and Bill Day from the Chorus of the Chesapeake. Their show, A Season of Hope and Song, will be Saturday, December 10th, 2022 at 3 p.m. at Essex Community College. Those of us that are old remember it as that. It's going to be at CCBC Essex, 7201 Rossville Boulevard. If you are interested in tickets for adults are $20. Students 7 through 18 are $10. And children 6 and younger are free. If you're interested in purchasing tickets, call 410-256-2962. A portion of the proceeds will go to Toys for Tots And also, if you would like to get tickets at the door, that is also an option. So thank you for sticking around listening to the Chorus of the Chesapeake, and we will see you next time on Foul Players Radio.